Quon was born in a village full of people with superpowers called attractors. But instead of being celebrated for their unique abilities, attractors were feared and hunted by others. Because of this, Quon's clan had to live in isolation to protect themselves and hide their powers. Despite being forced to live in solitude, Quon and his little brother Toa had a happy childhood. Toa had a kind heart and always believed that one day, the world would be peaceful and free from discrimination. However, one day Toa did a good deed by healing the wounded leg of an outsider. Unfortunately, this act of kindness backfired, and the warriors attacked and killed everyone. Quon was out and returned to find his entire clan had been wiped out. Devastated by the loss of his family and overcome with anger, Quon's powers were awakened for the first time. However, his unstable emotions made him lose control, and he not only took revenge by killing the soldiers but also innocent people. Filled with regret and guilt, Quon vowed to save others like him who have awakened powers but can't control them. 1,000 years had passed since Quon's clan was wiped out, but Quon was still alive due to his powers, which granted him immortality. Quon had become the leader of a group of attractors whose mission was to defend themselves against the Custos organization, a group that hunted and exterminated attractors using human cyborgs who could detect when someone's powers would awaken. They lived in a place called Fantasium Garden, a theme park with a shield barrier to protect attractors' identity and location from their enemies. Quon received a mission to save a little boy named Yuma, who awakened and was going berserk. Without hesitation, Quon arrived at the scene using his incredible ability called Insania. It allowed him to transform his physical body into an armored form, giving him godlike strength, speed, agility, durability, and healing. Quon quickly shielded the boy from the cyborgs and used his water manipulation power to throw the enemies away. But the Custos cyborgs soon surrounded Quon and fired at his shoulder. They tied his hands, and the human cyborg Epsilon aimed at Quon's, but Quon's friend Yuri came to his rescue. This allowed Quon to free himself and fight back. With agility and swift movements, Quon fought off the enemy fires and knocked their soldiers down one by one, while Yuri protected and saved the boy. The next day, Quon was informed by Tae, a telepathic attractor, that Yuma was struggling to control his powers. Quon decided to help and gave Yuma a wristwatch that would aid him in suppressing his power. Quon also made Yuma promise to use his powers for good and never to abuse them. Later that night, Quon received a signal that a girl named Kiri was about to awaken her powers. Quon quickly arrived outside Kiri's house, where he witnessed her awakening the power of a voice that could both heal or destroy everything. Fortunately, she stopped her awakening just in time. Kiri had lost her voice due to the trauma of seeing her parents' death, and her only remaining family member was her grandmother, who was on her deathbed. Quon, who had also suffered greatly in the past because of what happened to his little brother, decided to protect her. Later, Quon learned that Yuma had escaped from the hospital, leaving the wristwatch behind. At the same time, Kiri's power had been fully awakened. Custos' cyborgs were targeting both in different places, which put Quon in a dilemma of which one to help first. Tauka confronted him and told him not to act like a hero because he can't save everyone. But Quon was determined, even if it meant risking his own life. He activated his power to fly toward Yuma, who was throwing lava bursts and going berserk. Quon managed to deal with the enemy and push them away. He tried to calm Yuma down but ended up hurting himself due to Yuma's explosive bubbles. Tauka took the chance and used his teleportation ability to take them to a factory where Yuri was protecting Kiri. To save everyone, Quon attacked the cyborgs with all his force. Despite the enemy's continuous fire, Quon kept dodging their attacks and retaliated. Unfortunately, one of the Custos soldiers struck Quon from behind with electricity, causing him to fall to the ground. But before the enemy could hurt him further, Yuma used his power to activate the safety alarm, forcing the Custos cyborgs to retreat. With Yuma's support, Quon reached the bridge where his comrades were waiting for him. He praised Yuma for his admirable effort of using his power for good. This incident changed Quon, and he realized that he couldn't save everyone alone. Therefore, he showed gratitude to his comrades for helping him and invited Kiri to join the attractor forces. A few days later, Quon's group engaged in a fierce battle with Custos forces to save a new attractor boy. While Quon was fighting with all his might, he noticed that the cyborg Epsilon was trying to catch the boy. Fortunately, Tae shielded the boy and activated her telepathy power. This caused all three of them to lose consciousness. After the fight, the medical staff informs that Tae's telepathy powers had caused her and Epsilon to be trapped inside the boy's dreams. This meant that Custos forces could detect attractors' locations by tracking Epsilon's mind. Quon knew that he had to act fast to free everyone. So, he entered the boy's dream, where he found everyone inside the dream state is seeing their true past, which they had forgotten or wanted to forget. Quon searched for Tay and Epsilon, and he discovered that they were acting as siblings instead of facing their past. Quon tried to wake them up, but he suddenly saw glimpses of his days with Toa. As Quon relived his painful past in a loop, it shattered him to the point that he lost control. As a result, everyone inside the dream state and outside saw through his past. This forced Quon to not only free himself from trapped memories, but also make Tay and Epsilon face the reality of their past. Together, they confronted the boy who created the fantasy world. As Tay and Quon encouraged the kid to be a hero, the dream state shattered, allowing everyone to break free. Quon returned to the theme park and walked down the street, reflecting on his goals when he suddenly heard Tay scream for help. Without hesitation, Quon followed her voice and found her surrounded by Custo's forces. As they were about to shoot Tay, Quon bravely stepped in front of her and took all the bullets on himself. To fight back, Quon stood up and kicked the first cyborg, but the other two attacked him simultaneously, leaving him cornered. However, Quon wasn't going down without a fight. He pushed them away and protected Tay from Epsilon, who was still considering Tay as his sister. As Epsilon lost control of his firepower and started burning, Quon realized that he was also an attractor. Therefore, he protected Epsilon from the cyborgs and took him to his medical team. After Epsilon regained consciousness, Quon called him by his human name, Shun, and invited him to join his group. This touched Shun's heart, as he had been living with fabricated memories that attractors were monsters who had killed his sister. In reality, he had been the one to accidentally kill her when he couldn't control his powers. Shun considered himself a monster, but Quon tried to reassure him that they were all just humans who deserved to live. This caused Shun to start to question his beliefs. A few hours later, the emergency alarm bells sounded, signaling Quon that something was wrong. He quickly found Shun breaking the protective shield of the theme park, exposing their location. In his armored form, Quon hit Shun, but he stopped the attack and pushed Quon back with full force. Realizing that Shun was being controlled by Custos, Quon threw rocks at him, but Shun rushed forward and kept punching him. To save others, Quon broke the roof glass and tried to run away, but Shun kicked him with such force that he fell to the ground outside. As Quon stood up, Shun attempted to punch him, but Quon dodged the attack and grabbed Shun from behind. Their fight was interrupted by the arrival of Custo's cyborgs, who shot Quon, causing him to bleed and be unable to protect anyone. But then, Quon's group appeared to fight against the enemy cyborgs, motivating Shun to break free from Custo's control and fight for Quon. As both forces engaged in battle, Quon refused to give up and fought back, even with an injured body. However, one of the Custo's cyborgs blocked Quon's attack and cut his hand in half. The enemy then shot Quon's chest and head, and he began to bleed out. The enemy forces retreated, thinking they had killed Quon, and planned to launch an explosive bomb to eradicate everyone. To stop it, Yuuma uses his bubble power to create a shield surrounding the theme park, protecting everyone from the bomb. The blast made Quon fall underground, where discovers his long-lost brother, Toa, sealed inside a crystal. This revelation shocks Quon, who had been carrying the guilt of not being able to protect his brother for over 1,000 years. Quon's friend, Seiji, appears and admits to hiding Toa's survival from him, which causes Quon to attack Seiji in anger. However, Quon soon realizes that Seiji meant no harm and stops attacking him. Seiji explains that his ancestors found Toa on the battlefield after the slaughter of Quon's clan and provided him shelter to heal his wounds. Toa, afraid of his dangerous power that could enhance every power, so he sealed himself in the crystal to prevent others from capturing him and using his abilities. From that day on, Seiji's family has been protecting Toa. Quon is devastated to learn that his brother sacrificed himself to make him immortal and had been hidden from him for so long. Kamishiro, the commander of the Custo's forces, swoops into the scene. Quon, overhearing that Custo's cyborgs are storming the building where his buddies are hiding, springs into action and races to rescue his friends faster than a cheetah on roller skates. Upon arriving at the battlefield, Quon hurls an electrifying spear straight at a cyborg who's got Shun in a chokehold. The spear zaps the cyborg, freeing Shun. The two join forces and engage the enemy. Out of nowhere, Kamishiro pops up on the scene as if he's just hit teleport on his remote. He reveals his true identity as an attractor who's got the power to steal other abilities. He offers the attractors a future so bright they'll need shades, where they can live a happy, normal life with their parents. Tempted by the promise, a few kids decide to join him. Determined to stop them, Quon and Shun launch an attack on Kamishiro. but Kamishiro whips up a cube barrier, trapping Quon and Shun inside like bugs. With a smirk, he teleports himself and his new recruits away. Haunted by memories of his past failures, Quon feels a pang of guilt for not protecting his friends. It's like deja vu from that time when he was away from his village and couldn't save his people. But now, he's determined to make things right by chasing down Kamishiro to rescue his friends. As Quon and Shun gear up for the ultimate showdown, Yuri and Yuma jump on the rescue wagon. Sneaking into Custo's headquarters, the team suddenly finds themselves surrounded by a mob of menacing cyborgs. Fear not, Shun morphs into his flame-armored form, lighting up the room like a birthday candle. With the cyborgs distracted, Quon and the others blaze forward, ready to save their comrades. Quon gets separated from his squad and reaches the commander's office. There he discovers his brother, wide awake but still encased in the crystal. Before he can free his sibling, Kamishiro pulls a fast one, trapping Quon in a maze of crystal icicles. Quon's tenacity and refusal to give up make him break the trap. But Kamishiro decides to conjure up gravity-defying crystal rocks and launches one right at Quon's shoulder, giving him a piercing souvenir. Meanwhile, Toa's seal starts to crack, and Kamishiro can hardly wait to absorb Toa's powers. Just in time, Quon breaks free from his crystalline confinement and tries to whisk his brother away. But Kamishiro's power gives Quon the old heave-ho, sending him flying across the room. Out of the blue, the Custo's system gets hacked, and water floods in like it's a surprise pool party. As everyone scrambles to evacuate the building, Quon and Kamishiro prepare for a face-off in the open sky. Quon lunges at Kamishiro, but the cunning commander uses his special ability to halt Quon in midair, and then zaps him with a jolt of electricity. Quon plummets to the ground like a fallen superhero. Kamishiro conjures a sinister black sphere, causing everyone nearby to lose control of their powers. The result: pandemonium and chaos reign among the forces. As Quon struggles, he envisions himself drowning underwater. In this watery world, his friends surround him, singing a song of hope that inspires him to get back on his feet. Quon surges forward, but Kamishiro has other plans. He spears metal pillars into Quon's armored body, immobilizing him. Using all his strength, Quon breaks free from the metal restraints just in time for Kamishiro to unleash a fiery attack. In a dramatic turn of events, Kamishiro stabs Quon's chest with his hand. But instead of admitting defeat, Quon seizes the opportunity to enter the enemy's mind. There, he finally gets the chance to talk with his brother. Toa, feeling guilty for awakening Quon's powers and burdening him, apologizes. But Quon is simply glad to see his brother again. They hold hands, and with their powers combined, the brothers break free from Kamishiro's grasp, and Quon dons shiny new white armor. As he advances, Kamishiro hurls massive stones at him, but Quon's determination is rock solid. Kamishiro tries one last trick, causing the ground to rupture and the surroundings to crumble. But Quon channels his godly powers, striking Kamishiro with lightning and draining him of his abilities. Aged and powerless, Kamishiro begs for mercy and Quon decides to spare him. As the battle ends, Quon's group celebrates their victory. Looking at the sunset, Quon tells Seiji that Toa finally released him from his immortality curse. The time starts to move again for Quon as he is free from his painful past. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.